When Otto says he's doing a comic crawl, you don't crawl, you run, especially when you end up in Sarge's basement. Let's take a look at what I got on part 2 of our 3 Men in the Basement comic crawl haul. Up next on this video from Bronzeville Comics. Hey there, comic book community. This is Jim from Bronzeville Comics coming to you with another video. And before we get started, like, comment, subscribe. We're getting close to 3,000 subscribers. I'm gonna probably, looks like on Tuesday, November 1st, we're gonna do our long overdue 2,500 subscriber giveaway. And then we're gonna start talking about the 3,000 subscriber giveaway. If we get to 3,000 subscribers by the end of November, we're gonna do that beginning of December. So figure live Tuesday, November 1st, 10 p.m. Eastern. Also, follow us on the other socials. I'm at Instagram at Bronzeville_comics. We are on Whatnot. We have sales every Monday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, although next Monday, being that it's Halloween, I'm not going to be ready to do a sale at 10 o'clock after, doing all the trick-or-treating stuff with the kids. We're actually, I believe, I'm going to do it this coming Thursday. We're going to do a Bronze Horror Night in preparation for Halloween on Whatnot. Follow us there. If you haven't used Whatnot yet, you can use the link in the description, get $10 off your first purchase. And also follow us. The link the link is in the description for my eBay store. So let's take a look at what we brought. So big shout out, big thank you to Otto over at 3 Men in the Basement for organizing the comic crawl. And it was just, the comics were almost like a bonus. It was a lot of fun just to get together with other members of the community, talk comics, people, friends of mine, people that you see once in a while, people that I hadn't met yet, but developed some new friendships. And it was a really, really great event. And we'll talk about the wrap-up. I also have a little bit of a surprise here at the end. I don't know how big a surprise it is, because it's a surprise to me, as well as to you. So let's just take a look. I just dug out some of these Spanish language. I think these were actually from Spain. Comics Forum Alpha Flight, Per la Rosa. This Nuevos Titanes, number 25. George Perez cover. And Los Cuatro Fantásticos, number 44. So those are just some cool little things. I also picked up, and I do have to, pardon me. I'm not gonna show the entirety of this book because it is got some naughty bits. I found, and it's hard to find pricing data on this. These are like oversized books. This is a magazine from the 70s. It's black and white interiors. It's got some really great covers. A science fiction fantasy magazine called Star Reach. I think, issues 1 through 15, all in extremely high grade. They're all in beautiful shape. The next book I picked up, and I didn't even realize that until I looked at it tonight. It's Marvel Age number 2, preview of Alpha Flight. Lower grade than I thought because it's got this crease on the back, but then I looked on the interior of the first page, and this was kind of a cool little bonus. Signed by John Byrne. Because back in the day, for you youngsters, before we had signature series and all that, before the books were encapsulated, oftentimes the signatures would be on that interior first page so as not to distract from the cover art. And a collector would open the first page and see the signature. Now you can't see the signature. I had a bunch of these. There was also the gatefold cover. Some X-Men number 1s. Now, you saw the long box. It ended up being about 250 books in the long box, and I paid $180. So it's about 75 cents a book. We were digging in the basement of Sarge's, and I kind of used my Easter egg hunt theory. So this is something, it worked at Easter egg hunts with my kids. When they were little, we'd go to an Easter egg hunt, and they'd have everybody like in a playground, with the Easter eggs all over the grass, and the kids kind of waiting on the the blacktop at the playground to go get the eggs, and they counted it down. I would say to my daughters, I'd say, go to the furthest point from here, just go to the back of where the eggs are. Because what happens is the kids are going to pick up the first eggs that they see and put them in their baskets. But all the kids are going to pick up those first eggs. So those eggs that are within 6 feet of the start. If you go 20 feet in, nobody else is there. You're picking up all the eggs. Similar theory. So I got there into the basement of Sarge's. We all pretty much went down at the same time because we waited for Otto to get there. And Sarge opened the basement up. We went down. I'm tired because it's been a long weekend. We went down, and I went to the back corner, and there were some boxes piled in each other. Listen, guys got better stuff than me. Somebody got a All-Star Western 10, first appearance of Jonah Hex in nice shape. Somebody else got a first appearance of John Constantine. So some people got some pretty cool books. Sometimes it's a more obscure stuff that you're going to find. I got this Batman versus Predator #1, but a newsstand. That's pretty cool. Deathlock #1, also a newsstand. This cover, I pick this up a lot. Wolverine 50 with this this gatefold cover. Also a newsstand. We have Invaders #23, and this is the first appearance of the Scarlet Scarab. The original Scarlet Scarab, his son appears in Thor 326, but the original Scarlet Scarab is a character that the love interest of Moon Knight in the TV series her father was based on. And then #22, Origin of Toro. Champions 14. This was a spec gone wrong. It's the first appearance of Swarm, and during the WandaVision series, people were like, "Ooh, the Beekeeper! We're gonna see Swarm." We didn't see Swarm. We didn't see Mephisto either, or Omega Red, or Mr. Fantastic, or Blue Marvel. Magic #4 didn't have the entire series, but issue 4 is a cool issue for that. I picked up Spider-Woman #6 with this Werewolf by Night crossover. Spider-Woman, this is a pretty sharp copy of #50, the final issue of her series. A lot of these Bronze Age books were in really nice shape. Like, some of them are going to be potentially submittable based on the FMB and what if I do a little more research on them. ROM 31, this is the second appearance of Rogue. And it's also her first cover appearance. Right there. Spectre 22. This is the first DC cover artwork by Alex Ross. I saw a run of Spectre, and I was kind of fishing for that issue. Hawkeye #1. Also a newsstand. It took both Hawkeye and Green Arrow a long time to get their own solo series. 2099 Unlimited, the first appearance of Hulk 2099, Newsy. X-Force #4, second appearance of Deadpool. Supposed to go by. Weapon X, of course it didn't have 72, but it had 73 and 74. Second and third chapters of the Weapon X storyline with the amazing Barry Windsor Smith artwork. A lot of people like to collect the Marvel Anniversary framed covers, and some of them are a little more difficult to come by. This is Marvel Age 44, also in nice shape. This one isn't as in great a shape, but this book, I picked it up at one of the other stops in the hall in better shape. But Batman and Robin #1, first true appearance of Professor Pig. There was a character, he was used, I think, in Batman 666, who looks different. This is really the first appearance of Professor Pig, who's just a demented Batman villain. And so there's rumors that character may be used in the HBO Max series and kind of that Matt Reeves, Robert Pattinson Batman universe. Have to be for mature audiences, I believe. Here we have X-Men 215 has some first appearances. Stonewall, Super Saber, and Crimson Commando. I don't think we're seeing them in the MCU. Here we have a pretty cool embossed Catwoman cover by Jim Ballant, which is a number one of her ongoing series. I think that's the first. She had a mini series before that. That's her first solo series. This amazing George Perez cover, Marvel Fanfare 10, Origin of Black Widow. DC Comics presents Annual 2, the first appearance of this version of Superwoman. She didn't really stick around. DC Comics presents Annual 3. This great Gil Kane cover with a Shazam crossover where Dr. Savannah gets the magic lightning bolt and becomes Captain Savannah. Fury of Firestorm. What is this? Number 7, the first appearance of Plastique. This is a villain that's been around, and she's been part of the Suicide Squad. I've been scooping up those. I sometimes see them in dollar bins. Jack of Hearts, number 1, the first of his issue of his limited series. There were some people thought, because there was a costume, I guess it was El Aguila's costume that looked a little bit like this in a little frame of a screenshot for She-Hulk. He wasn't in She-Hulk. Is it possible to see Jack of Hearts? Anything's possible. Omega Man 5, second appearance of Lobo. Falcon number 1, first issue of his limited series, his first ongoing title. Justice League of America 193. This was one of those 80s DC books with the preview in the center. This is a preview for All-Star Squadron, their first appearance as a team. This was not the right issue number, but it is an issue of Albedo Anthropomorphics number 5. No, it wasn't the first Yusaki Yojimbo. Here's the first, Captain Victory, which was a Pacific Comics early 80s Jack Kirby creation after he left Marvel once again. Avengers Forever number 1, the first appearance of Captain Marvel, Genesis Vell in cosmic form from an alternate reality. Cloak and Dagger number 1. Their first limited series. Not their first appearance. That's in Peter Parker's Spectacular Spider-Man 64, 65. And of course, because she works with Cloak, Dagger is the most overshadowed hero in Marvel Comics history. A-Team number 1 in a newsstand. This, for you young folks, this was a very popular TV series for about a week in the early 1980s. It was popular for kind of the first season, petered off pretty quickly. And Mr. T, who is in the antagonist in Rocky 3, was quite a popular character at the time. Spider-Man 13, Todd McFarlane homage cover. This is in rough shape, but it's still a pretty cool book. This is Rampaging Hulk magazine, number 2. Second issue of that series. Then they had the entire run, and I picked it all up, of Marvel Feature with Red Sonja. Number 1 is the money book in this. It's her first solo title, first solo book, but it had, I picked up, and these are nice. These are at least VFs, if not better. I'm going to take a close look at number 1. And number 7 is kind of a key because it has a Conan appearance. They also had a huge run of Sandman. I picked up, they had, I think it was issue 40 to the end. Not the bigger keys are in the earlier issues, but if the show continues, it is an expensive show for Netflix to do, but I think, I think it was good enough and popular enough that we could see more of it. Hopefully. I really enjoyed the first season. This is issue 69, where Daniel Hall becomes the new Dream. They had a good run of Astonishing X-Men. The bigger keys were pulled out, but there's still some nice little keys. This is number 4, in which we see the first appearance of Armor, a Japanese mutant. Power Girl number 1. There are some more popular covers. Basically, the Power Girl series is driven by the popularity of the covers. Here we have Conan the Barbarian number 22. I picked up a handful of Conans. And again, these, like a lot of these other Bronze Age books, were in nice shape. This is a reprint of issue number 1. The original story got lost in the mail, so they had to rush the reprint in. And the cover doesn't have anything to do with the first issue. But it's a Barry Windsor Smith cover, so what can go wrong? Number 33. It didn't have the first 2 Red Sonja appearances, but this is her 3rd appearance. This is a book that was hot a couple of months ago during this Marvel series. Clandestine, number 1. The first team appearance of Clandestine. I don't think we're going to see those characters ever in the MCU, the way that it went down in Ms. Marvel. So that was, a hot thing for a moment. Airboy number 1. I really love this run. There are a couple of... there's particularly a Dave Stevens Valkyrie cover in this run. That is probably the most sought-after issue. But Airboy was a Hillman publication in the 1940s. Eclipse brought him back in the 1980s. They ran as bi-weekly 50-cent books because they're only 16 pages. But Chuck Dixon, Tim Truman, I really enjoyed that book at the time. There were a few of these in decent shape, and I picked them up Man-Thing because it's Man-Thing. I'm going to put these in my Bronze Horror Show. So just a few issues, nothing major there, but just a few nice Man-Thing issues. The X-Men 300, that anniversary issue. And these two are sought after for specific reasons. The first 2 issues of Marvel Swimsuit Special. Issue number 1 with Storm on the cover, and issue number 2 with Rogue. Again, good girl art is not my thing, but if it's your thing, go with it. Then I talked about the Sandman run. I was digging through and counting the issues, and they did have issue 75. I'm like, is it a second print or a newsstand? And it's not. It's direct sales, but still, final issue of the series. There was a run of the 70 series. It didn't have every issue. It didn't have number 1. I don't think it had number 10, which is the last issue, of Omega the Unknown. And this is the first appearance of the second Fool Killer. Newsstand copy of Chapter 2 of Death in a Family. Talked about those Marvel anniversary covers. The New Mutants one with Magic. Is that Art Adams? That is an attractive cover. That's Art Adams. Another number 1, West Coast Avengers, the limited series. The one-shot Elseworlds. This is really the first Elseworlds story, and it's not indicated as such. Batman, A Tale of the Batman, Gotham by Gaslight, with Mike Mignola and P. Craig Russell art. You saw at the earlier stop, I picked up the last 3 issues of Doorway to Nightmare. That was canceled, and then the final story was run here in this one-shot special collector's only edition. I think this was only distributed through comic shops because you don't even see anywhere for a UPC code. Madame Xanadu, number 1. A lot of talk about seeing her in some sort of DC project. But it's DC, so who the heck knows. There was also, I found, just at the end as I was kind of glancing around, I found these high grade, and it has a whole bunch of them. It doesn't have the first Dark Side, but these 25-cent Kirby Jimmy Olsen books, including the first comic book appearance, I believe, of Don Rickles, and also Goody Rickles. One of the more bizarre comic books I've ever read. Weirdly, though, there are a couple of these, when I picked them up, I'm like, these are thin. There were a bunch of pages missing. I think that somebody just tore out some of the ad pages. I picked up a few issues of 8 Ball by Dan Close. I also found a nice run of Batman Family. This was only, I think, a 20-issue series in the 70s, and I've just been trying to, on the cheap, pick up this series. These are all sharp copies. I talked about how a lot of their Bronze Age books that I found were really nice. Then there's also this. This is Green Lantern 43, where the Black Hand gets possession of the Black Lantern ring. Kind of the prologue to the Blackest Night storyline. What else do we have? The second time I picked this up on the day, Zorro number 3, the first appearance of Lady Rawhide, Adam Hughes cover. A different type of appealing cover. 2 covers by Brian Boland, Justice League 189 and 190 with this Starro storyline. Another appealing cover, X-Men 197 with Dr. Doom. You get to this era of X-Men, there aren't nearly as many keys. Marvel Fanfare 56 with this Shayna. I believe that's Shayna the She-Devil on the cover. And thankfully, by this point in time, Al Milgrom is no longer in the Marvel box. Invaders 29. This is also a nice high-grade copy. First appearance of the Teutonic Knight. A Nazi supervillain. And of course, anything... there are people who collect swastika covers. While I was digging, my buddy Joe from 360 Comics said, oh, you know, you're looking for 100 pagers, right? And I'm trying to collect, again, not actively, but if I see it, I grab it. All the DC 100 pagers, and there were 3 Tarzan books there. Joe, it was a box he was digging in. He wasn't interested. 232. What is it? 233 and 235. And these books are gorgeous. I mean, these are really high grade. This does have a couple of crunches on the corner, but they're really sharp, like never been touched. Then I was kind of at the end just walking around. I didn't even know where to look anymore because I figured most of this stuff had been kind of gone through. And then just the top of the box was a book that I have in my personal collection, but I definitely think this is an upgrade because it is. It's a pretty sharp copy. It's a Silver Age book. I think it's the only Silver Age book that I got. Justice League of America 55. This is the first appearance in the Silver Age of the Golden Age Robin. He, by this time, has joined the Justice Society. He's kind of borrowed part of Batman's costume. I guess his Robin's costume didn't fit anymore, so he took this out of the closet and took out his yellow cape and his kind of domino mask, and this was cool. And as a matter of fact, after the crawl, most of us went out for dinner, and we were just talking about different stuff. And we were talking about action figures. And for those who are old enough, I'm a Mego collector. Not a collector. I wasn't. I was as a kid. I just don't have room for, or really the desire to buy them. But the 8-inch action figures that were put out in the 1970s, and I was talking about how we would change the outfits, kind of mix and match. So they had a lot of superheroes, DC and Marvel. They had Planet of the Apes line. They had a Star Trek line. And I said, if you took Mr. Spock from Star Trek and put Robin's briefs on him, there you had Submariner. Submariner is not a character they used. And what we would do is we would take Robin and put him in the Batman costume with the Robin cape, and we had Earth 2 Robin. He changed his costume in All-Star Comics 58. And then there was Conan the Barbarian 58. This is the first appearance of Belit, who becomes a romantic interest. Invaders Annual #1. This is the final cover ever drawn by Alex Schomburg, and kind of a fitting, place for him to draw the cover with the timely characters from World War II. That's also in really nice shape. This isn't... I only picked up one Star Wars book. It's Star Wars #10 from the Dark Horse run, and I don't remember the name of this character. I'm not really a Star Wars expert, but it's some character whose name I probably couldn't pronounce and who becomes a Darth something or other. Then there were 2 books. They didn't have issue 1, or they didn't have issue 4, but again, these are really sharp, high-grade copies. Cat Beware the Clothes of the Cat number 2 and number 3. I mean, you know, there are a couple spine ticks on there, but those are really nice copies. And then the final 2 books. This book is, I think, submittable. One of my favorite books, and I couldn't believe it was there. It's All-Star Squadron 25, the first appearance of Infinity Incorporated. It's a newsstand. Now, all of these characters, well, not all of them are making their first appearance. But one who is Nuklon, as he was known here. Later renamed to Atom Smasher, who is a character in the Black Adam movie. So this is a really sharp copy. Needs like there's some color up that needs to be gotten off the back cover, but everything else is really sharp. I might submit this in at least a 9.6 pre-screen. I do have a 9.8 of this, but I'd like to have a newsstand too, because it's one of my. I really like the story in there, the Jerry Ordway art. I have a Ordway signed copy that I might bring to Collector Fest, where Roy Thomas is going to be, to try to get them to both sign it. That would be a lot of fun. And then one of the first books that I found, unfortunately it's not in great shape, is this book that's been on a hot list, Wolverine 88. It's got some serious spine ticks there, but notice this too is a newsstand copy. I mean, if this was a high-grade newsstand, it would be, you know, in the upper 9s, it would be in the hundreds. But still, a really cool book to find. Again, I pay like 75 cents a book for all this stuff, and I got very little, you know, filler. There was, you know, I did buy some runs, like in Sandman. I bought a lot of Astonishing X-Men, and I bought some books for the PC. I'm really happy with it. The condition, like, of those Tarzan Super Spectaculars, those are gorgeous. Even the Batman Family, you know, books that I'm trying to complete the run. And if I'm going to complete the run, especially if it's not going to cost me much at all to have high-grade issues, why not? You know, and it's, I mean, to find high-grade 100-pagers from the 70s is not easy. So that was a haul. We went out to dinner. It was within walking distance of Sarge's, and just had a great time. Again, a big shout out, a big thank you to Otto at 3 Men in a Basement. I'm still tired. We were all exhausted at the end of the crawl, but I think everyone had a great time, and it was just like a real positive experience. Everybody got stuff they liked, you know, showing each other what you got. And in these kinds of situations, I think for, you know, most of the people that I've found in the community, and there are exceptions, but most of the people, you know, that will socialize at these types of events, there's not really a jealousy of like, oh man, he got that, you know, it's like, oh man, you got that. That's an awesome book. Yes, I would like to have that. Would I have liked to have found that All-Star Western 10 First Jonah Hex that somebody else found? Heck yeah. I just got a 4.0 back. That's my personal collection copy. I would have loved to upgrade that, but good on him. He found it. Great job. So that was a lot of fun. I'm going to do one more thing. And I did end up arriving when I got home in the mail. Actually, let me do this. I'm going to do one last thing. When I got home, in my mailbox was this, which is an indication to me that it's the Comic Tom Mystery Mail Call. Now, I had been on the fence of whether to keep getting this because, I'm not a huge fan of like the variant covers and stuff, but I did very well last month, and I got the foil variant of the Invincible cover that he had put out, and sold that for $290. So that was a nice little, profit there. I pay about $40 for the box, 40-something dollars every month. And so that, kind of is going to keep me going. So let's see what's in here. We'll do this together. I'm going to first take out, he has art prints. October Mystery Mail Call newsletter. Okay, so let's see what we get, and we'll check kind of the print counts. versus what they have, because there's the cover A, the cover B, etc. So the first thing is their kids book, and usually these are Scoot Comics, which is a branch of Scout Comics, and we get this little Comic Tom thing, and it's usually a Dr. Seuss homage kids comic, Singy and Tombo. So I don't think that there's anything kind of different in there. I think that's just the... Let's see what else we got. Oh, there's another... What is this? Oh. A She-Hulk print. I don't even know what to do with the art prints. They are pretty cool, but... What else do we have here? Okay, we have a Something is Killing the Children 25. This is by David Mack. And I'm trying to think. This is the cover A. Cover A and cover B had about the same print count. 1420 and 1285, so really not much of a difference between one of them and the other. Then Lady Hell #1. This is by Ben Temple Smith. And this is there's a green and a sepia. That's the sepia. Not the red, right? Yeah, I think that's the sepia. Again, nothing there that's really the counts are that different. And then finally, The Stuff of Nightmares by R.L. Steen, a Johnny Desjardins cover. So that's pretty cool. And then there's another book, Invincible Iron Man 74. This is one of the few times the Mystery Mail Call, the random back issue is not something I have. But I think that's just a run filler book. So that's it for the Mystery Mail Call. I don't think there's anything terribly exclusive in there. So we're just gonna put that back to the side. And that's it, for my weekend haul. Again, it was a great time. I got some cool books and, hung out with some cool people. And let me know what you think in the comments below. So this is Jim. I got a couple other videos you can check out here. And this is Jim saying until next time, enjoy your comics.